Welcome to Washington, D.C., America's Rome, Chocolate City, and my hometown. But like many born and raised here, I barely really get to explore the monuments and memorials. So we'll be on this journey together in a way. And as winter turns to spring, the cherry blossoms attract millions of people who literally descend to the tidal basin for that perfect selfie with the branches of pink petals straight behind you. The monuments and memorials are tributes to the story of America. Like the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. Thomas Jefferson was considered an enlightened one from the hemp they used to smoke back then. But he went on to write the Declaration of Independence. And it's these symbols of democracy that are like beacons to the evolving nature of this new society that was for the people, by the people. The Washington Monument is a work in progress itself. It isn't even the original design, but at 555 feet tall, it's the largest freestanding stone structure in the world.
The Negro Motorist Green Book, first published in 1936, was a critical guide for African Americans traveling during the 40s, 50s, and early 60s. It was created by a Harlem postal worker, Victor Green, and his colleagues who gathered a listing of restaurants, bars, hotels, and private homes that welcome Black travelers across the country. In a time where Americans started hitting the road, African Americans faced restrictions as they traveled. Although you could purchase a car, you couldn't get gas, stay in hotels, or eat in restaurants. Travel was difficult and dangerous. Ben's Chili Bowl at 1213 U Street, Washington, D.C.
Relationship with this community. These young guys that found this to be home. As soon as they started to broadcast professional basketball, put the TV up for them, to keep them here, so they wouldn't have to go see that game someplace else. We didn't have TVs in Ben's Chili Bowl, but that was for them. And that brought in that segment of our community. And then, of course, this being the strong, close-knit community that it was, when you came here for a chili dog, you ran into a friend.
Particularly in the early 50s, when we would leave Washington, D.C. on the train, We could sit anywhere on the train until you got to the Virginia line. And when you get to the Virginia line, you had to go to the last train on the back. And I remember being so frustrated because we could not eat on the highway. If the train stopped, we couldn't eat. We couldn't relieve ourselves on the train. You either had to hold it or relieve yourself sitting there, and then you're wet when the train stopped. You would get off the train and you would relieve yourself outside, almost like you would if you were a dog.
And he ran out before me, and I'm still trying to get my coat and my shoes on, talking about my kids is playing. And surely enough, as I walk across the street around a little track where I could see the kids, my son is laying on the ground with 10 police officers surrounding him, and my daughter is screaming in the back of the police car, and they have my other son surrounded, and they put him in the back of the police car. So it was terrible. That's how that day turned out. The police asked me, when they asked me, they told me to calm down, or they were gonna put me in the back of the police car, because I was trying to get to my son. They never let me get to him. They also let me ride in the front seat as a passenger
Of the police car,
of the ambulance.
of the ambulance.
So I never even got a chance to get back, close to my son, to hold his hand, to kiss him and let him know that it was going to be all right. I don't know what they were
So
doing.
he was in the back of the ambulance and you were in the front.
Yeah, I was in the front like a passenger.
And you bring this new thing into the planet and into the universal voice. You got a right to sing because that's how you started out. Anybody who told you that you shouldn't sing or stand in the back or mouth the words, they lied to you. And that's why I'm here with you today, because we're going to sing. And every time another voice joins my voice or other voices, we make the world a more beautiful place. And so I want you to come along with me. And sometimes whatever it is that you can do is all good. It all works. So if all you can do is this, you're starting on the way. You're a rhythm monster. You start with a beat in your heart. You're all there. And you got that. And so we just keep doing this. And maybe you just join me on a note. Just try it. Do. Sing it with me. Come on now. Do. Let's break it up. Do, 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 do. We're gonna sing. We're gonna sing together. Gonna sing, sing, sing. Da do da do da do do.
Nice.
You know, in today's world and everything, I wonder to myself, what can we do in order to stay connected to each other? People are feeling so separate, and everything around us is telling us that we have nothing in common. Everything and everybody around us is telling that our hearts do not connect. But that's why we sing. We sing so that everybody can come and everybody's got a place at the table. Everybody here's got a place at the table.
Okay, so we're going to start with the procedures. Patient with the incisional hernia. We're going to reconstruct it with a mesh. Anesthesia?
We're actually in the operating room.
In this brief animation, we demonstrate how we treat the hernia. So once opening the skin, you can see the large defect in the muscle layer. And we treat that with positioning a mesh below the muscle layer. And we use so-called tackers to keep the mesh in place.
So the advantage for this mesh is that we can go straight down directly into the abdominal cavity. We can position the mesh over there instead of preserving the peritoneum.
Wow, they're actually cutting the skin.
So this is the size of the defect, and Can I have the ruler? So this is 15 centimeters.
All right, let's see what's gonna happen with these jokers in this bowl.
In 1932, author Ernest Hemingway published Death in the Afternoon. His memoir would introduce the world to the Spanish tradition of bullfighting.
Crazy. He's gonna get got. Oh, he almost got. Now, why would you do that? Crazy, man. Better get him. Whoa!